Hello and welcome to my front porch. It is a beautiful day out today. It is sunny and like 60 degrees or so, and so it's quite lovely. And so I couldn't resist the opportunity to talk about knitting out here, although it is a little bit windy, so I'm hoping that that doesn't mess things up too much. Maybe I'll bring you guys a little closer. There we go. Okay. So, like I said, it's a little windy. Hopefully that's not going to mess with the sound too much. But it's so pretty out. I couldn't resist. You can find me on Gabie's Knit Goodies on Instagram. You can find my hand-dyed yarn on Etsy. And then GKG Yarn is my Instagram handle, specifically for yarn pictures. I have 3 sweaters to talk about today, and I'm just wearing like a sweatshirt, but I do have on some knitted socks. So these are quite old knitted socks, and they are my, what do you call it? Monet Water Lilies colorway. And like I said, they are quite old, and I machine wash and dry them. So they're a tiny bit, they're a little bit felted on the bottom, but I still love them very much. And they haven't had any holes yet, so that's good. And they, I wouldn't say they have shrunk. When I first get them out of the dryer, they're a little bit snug, and I dry them on low, like I do like my regular clothes. But yeah, they fit my feet fine, even after washing and drying multiple times. So I have been pleasantly surprised by that. This is probably my oldest pair of hand knit socks. Yeah. And probably my most worn pair. Anyways, I have 3 sweaters to talk about today. One is completely done. Just have to cut off a couple of ends. And then one is a work in progress y'all have seen before, and the other one is brand new. So I'm on a sweater kick, I suppose. This is my finished one, and it is, there we go, the Storm Sweater Junior by PetiteKnit, or PetiteKnits. Anyways, this is the size 1 to 2 years. And if you saw my last video, I had messed up one of the sleeves and missed like one of these repeats on one sleeve and not the other. So one sleeve was longer than the other. So I had to rip it back and fix that. I also realized in that process that I had knit the sleeves too long. I just went ahead and like finished the whole chart for the sleeves, and then realized that I should have stopped at the appropriate length. So I ended up ripping back both sleeves, but one of them I only had to rip back like one of the sections and then reknit the cuff. But I did have, and still do have, an Italian bind off, so that was a little bit of a pain. But it's not for me or my children, it's for someone else, so I wanted to make sure it was right. And I think it turned out really cute. Let's see. There we go. Storm Sweater Junior. It is a top-down knit. You knit the back first, and then the front, and then join in the round and go down. You pick up for the sleeves and knit down. The patterns are all just knits and purls. And there is no shoulder shaping in this junior pattern, unlike the adult version. It's very cute, and I think it will be lovely for the recipient. It's knit out of, I knit a very tight gauge for a worsted weight yarn. It's supposed to be DK weight, and it is my own yarn on Etsy. So yes, so DK White Swan would work really well for this pattern. In retrospect, I probably maybe should have knit out of that, but I wanted the sweater to because for a kid to be very like a dense gauge, which made it less pleasant to knit though. So I ended up doing 100% superwash merino worsted weight. Anyways, you do pick up for the collar and knit that and do the Italian bind off as well there. And the bottom is Italian bind off. So it's very pretty. And I'm excited to send it off. I need to put some type of tag on it. But I want to make sure whatever I put on it, it doesn't like mess up when it's washed. Or like, I don't want it to be a color that would bleed. And I don't know if a leather tag would work or not, because I have some leather I could do. But I don't know how that would do like if you washed it. So I'm going to have to figure that out, because I want something to mark it as handmade by me. So, Storm Sweater Junior. Super cute. It was a nice way to try a petite knit pattern without having to knit an adult size sweater, because it's much smaller, obviously. And the pattern was well written. The only part I really got confused on was the sleeve length, because it says follow the chart and then it talks about sleeve length after that, and so I didn't read the whole section. I just, when it said follow the chart for the sleeve, I went and did that and then read that I should have made it shorter. That's probably my bad. The second one that I'm going to show you today, there it is, the Neigh sweater by Caitlin Hunter of Boyland Knitworks. She's beautiful. So I think last time, I don't know where I was last time I showed this sweater, but this is the second time I am knitting this sleeve. And now I have another one to go. The reason being is my daughter tried it on and the sleeve was a bit snug. It is, it's supposed to be like a drop shoulder pattern, and it is knit from the bottom up with the giant colorwork motif here. And then you do a 3 needle bind off here, which I like, at the shoulders, and it gives some stability there too, which is nice. And then you pick up for your sleeves, and she has decreases in the sleeves. And I'm knitting the smallest size for my daughter because she's very petite, like small, but she's kind of long. And she tried it on and did not like the sleeves. She likes a looser sleeve. And so this time I actually put the stitch count around the armhole for the next size up. And then I did a couple of decreases and then decided just to knit straight to the cuff, because she likes a wider sleeve. She didn't want it to decrease, and she wants it to like slide over her hands and be like long and loose, and yeah. So that's what I've done here, and I'm just starting my cuff, and I'm not doing all the decreases for the cuff. I am just I decreased the size, the needle size, to the ribbing needle, so it will be tighter, but it won't be snug on her wrist at all, which I think is what she wants. And since it's for her, this is what I'm doing. I think it's beautiful, and I think if you saw my last podcast, it's hard to show this. If you saw my last podcast, I talked about this colorwork section and how I was catching my floats. I am not just catching them like I am in the sleeve here by just the normal method. I'm using the ladder back jacquard for the main body here, and the purpose of that, it kind of creates a double knit fabric here. And the reason I did that is so that I wouldn't have all those little spots that you can see where you're like catching your floats with the contrast color. So I think that's worked out well. I need to block it to make sure that lays flat, but other than that, I really like the look of that ladderback jacquard method of catching floats, because you don't see all the little red dots in the middle of that beigey area. The yarn, I started with Maleficent, which has greens and plums and gray in there. Like a charcoal gray would have worked well too. And then my main color is coffee with cream, and then the horsey color here is Mexican hot chocolate. And then the cuffs will be that dark color as well, but the collar is not. So, how do you guys think it's going? I think it's lovely, and I really want to finish it before it gets worn. It is supposed to get cooler in the next few days, and I'm sure in my area weather flip-flops back and forth, so you never know what it's going to be next week in the springtime. My crocuses are coming up in the backyard, and so it is making it feel a little bit like spring between that and the fact that it is sunny and pretty warm today. Like, I don't need a coat. What I would love to be wearing is my new sweater that I've cast on. I'm having to hold myself back from knitting this so I can finish this one for my daughter. Ta-da! I have not joined Under the Arms yet, but this is the Salty Days sweater. I forget the lady's name, starts with a K. And she also has like YouTube tutorials and things like that. But part of the reason I was so excited to cast this on is because I dyed some new yarn. And it is inspired by Van Gogh's Almond Blossom painting. And I dyed it on fingering weight and DK weight and mohair. Isn't it gorgeous? Okay, I was so excited about this yarn colorway. One of my customers actually suggested this painting for inspiration, and it worked out so great, and it kind of captures my mood in the spring, I think, of ready for color, and but it's not really that warm yet. So anyways, I had to find something to cast on with it, and sweater knitting is my favorite. And I had a couple of friends who did the Salty Days sweater recently, or who are in the process of knitting it. And so I've been watching them and kind of inspired by them. And this sweater pattern calls for a DK weight held with a mohair silk. And that worked perfect for what I was doing. And I had never really had a variegated yarn that I'd held with the same variegated colorway in the mohair. And I really wanted to give that a try. If you ever see, what is her name? Something About Hands podcast. I'll put it up here. She's out in Nevada and she dyes yarn. Fiber for the People is her yarn company, but the name of her podcast is slipping my mind. Anyways, I'll put it up here or down below or both. She does that a lot, where she holds like a variegated yarn with a variegated mohair, things like that. And I thought it'd be fun to give it a try. And I am loving how it's turning out. I was afraid you wouldn't be able to see the lacework in the pattern, but I think that it's working out just fine. This is the ribbing that she has at the top, and then it has this little diamond lace here, and it's separated by a little eyelet section. And here in a little while I will join in the round for the body. And it starts, you can kind of see the shape here in the back. It starts with this little part at the neck. Some of my favorite things knitwear sweaters, a lot of them start the exact same way with the back of the neck, and then it grows and you finish the back to the length of where you would split for your arms, and then you pick up and then knit the front, like the shoulders, and then join in the front and knit down. I liked when she had us pick up. She has this decorative element here before you knit those shoulder sections, so I think that's really pretty. It's a little bit like the storm sweater in that you have different sections that you knit horizontally, which keeps your interest. I really debated about this sweater, Salty Days, versus something like PetiteKnit Snow Frills or the Felix sweater, because those two are very mindless, and I thought that that's what I kind of wanted, but I don't know, this just fit the yarn requirements so well of the Salty Days, and then I had seen, you know, friends knitting it, which always makes you want to knit it. So anyways, and I thought the vibe of Salty Days sweater, it's kind of giving me like beach vibes, and then this colorway, even though it's almond blossom colorway, it gives me beachy vibes too. Anyways, I think you can tell I'm kind of excited about this sweater, the yarn, and the combination of everything. It's so lovely to knit with. It's just luxurious when you add Kid Mohair Silk to anything. So I will stop bending your ear about this until next time. Hopefully I will have this one done and be able to knit a little bit more in this. I'm about to wind up some more of it. So anyways, that is all of the knitting I have for you. I have one more small project. As a lot of you probably know, I teach a knit and crochet class, and so I'm always trying to come up with small projects for that class, or either small or easy. At this point in time, my students are quite, I would say quite advanced. They are not just newbie beginners anymore, and they can do a lot of things, and it's really fun. But that challenges me as a teacher as well to keep coming up with things that are new to them and interesting for them to do. But right now we need smaller projects just because we're all kind of busy with spring stuff with our kids and all. And then the students themselves, like I have adults and high schoolers, they're kind of swamped with their school stuff right now and sports stuff. Anyways, so I just did a mug cozy with that class, and it's to teach cables, and I did 2 different mug cozies. One just had the cable just went one way, and then the other one, it was more like a braid, so you learned a left and a right leaning cable. I have at least one of those I put on Instagram that I'll put up as a picture here. So the next project, I wanted to swing back to crochet, and I was gifted a lot of this tiny cotton yarn, or it's kind of between yarn and thick thread. And so I thought it'd be really fun to make like a bookmark and have them do something with this tiny stuff, because I thought that'd be new and interesting. And I found a pattern that has like little flowers all like chained together to make a bookmark. So I've just started that, and I'm just experimenting with that now. But it's so tiny. I think I actually would like a slightly bigger crochet hook. The ball suggested a size 7, which is a 1.65 millimeter crochet hook. And I guess unlike knitting needles, crochet hooks, the higher the number, it starts with 0 and goes up, the smaller the hook. And then like after 0, when it gets bigger, they're letters. I don't understand who came up with these concepts, but So this is a 7, and it is teeny, teeny, tiny, and it works with this yarn stuff, but I think like a 5 or a 6 would probably be a little bit better, because the head is just so tiny. It doesn't really have much of like a hook to grab it, and so that makes sense. And so I kind of want a slightly bigger one so you don't drop the yarn as easy. So I think I'm gonna go, I got this at Hobby Lobby for like $1.50. So I'm gonna see if they have what I need in a slightly bigger size. But that's been kind of fun. It is so tiny. Anyways, I hope you guys are having a wonderful end of your winter and beginning of spring, or if you're on the other side of the hemisphere, the reverse, I suppose. Yeah. Happy crafting, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye. I have Gogh Almond Blossom available in DK weight merino, Kid Mohair Silk, and fingering weight merino.